Have you ever felt that knot in your stomach when you really wanted to say no to someone, but felt obligated to say yes? Like it would be rude or people-pleasing or selfish to put your needs first. Saying no is hard. We are wired for connection, belonging, and fitting in. And sometimes we worry that saying no will jeopardize those connections. But here's the thing, no is a complete sentence, and it's often the bravest, most honest sentence we can speak. Saying no is a powerful yet often challenging skill. It's essential for setting boundaries, managing time, and maintaining healthy relationships. Learning to say no from a place of worthiness and self-respect is a game changer. It allows us to show up more authentically in our lives, to invest our time and energy in what truly matters. So let's explore how to reclaim the word no and use it as a tool for courage and self-care. Before you can confidently say no, you need to understand what you're saying yes to. What are your values? What are your goals? What commitments are truly important to you? When we're unclear about our priorities, it's easy to get swept away by the demands of others. Take some time to reflect on what truly matters to you. Maybe it's spending quality time with loved ones, pursuing a passion project, or simply having time for yourself. Maybe it's about feeling emotionally resourced and not overscheduled. Write these priorities down. Once you have a clear understanding of your values and goals, you can start to evaluate requests and opportunities through that lens. Does this request align with my values? Does it move me closer to my goals? Or is it going to pull me away from what truly matters? Remember, every time we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. We're saying no to more time, more energy, more space. So be mindful of how you're spending your yeses. When we're aligned with our priorities, saying no becomes a little easier. It becomes an act of self-respect, a way of honoring what's important to us. When saying no, clarity is key. Vague responses or beating around the bush can lead to misunderstandings and make it harder for the other person to respect your boundaries. Avoid phrases like, "I'm not sure if I can," or "I'll try my best." While these might seem like gentler ways of declining, they can actually create confusion and false hope. Instead, be direct and upfront with your response. A simple, "No, I can't commit to that right now," or "Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not able to take that on," is much more effective. Remember, you don't owe anyone a lengthy explanation. A clear and concise no is sufficient. When we try to over-explain or justify our no, we diminish its power. It's okay to be polite, but don't sacrifice clarity for the sake of politeness. A clear no is a kindness, both to yourself and to the other person. Saying no doesn't have to be negative. In fact, you can decline a request while still maintaining a positive and supportive tone. Instead of focusing on what you can't do, try to emphasize what you can do. For example, instead of saying, "I can't make it to your party on Friday," you could say, "I'm busy on Friday, but I'd love to get together another time. How about dinner next week?" See the difference? You're acknowledging their request, declining gracefully, and offering an alternative solution. You can also use positive language to express your appreciation for the invitation or request. For example, you could say, "Thank you so much for thinking of me. I really appreciate the offer." Remember, saying no doesn't have to be confrontational. You can decline a request while still being kind, respectful, and even enthusiastic about other ways to connect. Chapter 4. Keep it short and simple. When it comes to saying no, less is often more. Over-explaining or justifying your decision can sometimes backfire, making you sound unsure or apologetic. Remember, you have the right to set boundaries and prioritize your time and energy. You don't need to provide a detailed explanation for every no. A brief and polite response is usually sufficient. For example, "I'm not available for this, I have other commitments, it's not a good fit for me right now." Or, "Thank you for understanding." These short and to-the-point responses convey your message clearly without leaving room for misinterpretation. Chapter 5. Offer alternatives. Sometimes saying no can feel a bit abrupt, especially if you want to be helpful. If possible, Try to offer an alternative solution or suggestion. For example, if you're invited to an event but can't make it, suggest a different date or time that might work for you. Or if you're asked to take on a project but don't have the bandwidth, recommend another colleague who might be a good fit. Offering alternatives shows that you're still willing to engage and support the other person, even if you can't fulfill their specific request. Of course, there will be times when you can't offer an alternative, and that's okay. Don't feel obligated to come up with a solution if one doesn't exist. The key is to be genuine and authentic in your response. If you can offer an alternative, great. If not, a simple and polite decline is perfectly acceptable. Chapter 6. Practice assertiveness. Assertiveness is a crucial skill when it comes to setting boundaries and saying no effectively. It's about communicating your needs and limits clearly and respectfully, without being aggressive or passive. One helpful technique is to use I statements. For example, instead of saying you're being unreasonable, you could say, I feel overwhelmed when I have too much on my plate. I statements help you express your feelings and perspectives without blaming or attacking the other person. They allow you to take ownership of your needs and boundaries. Remember, assertiveness is not about being demanding or controlling. It's about finding a balance between respecting your own needs and respecting the needs of others. Chapter 7. Not everyone will take your no well. Some people might try to guilt you, pressure you, or make you feel bad for setting boundaries. It's important to be prepared for these reactions and stand firm in your decision. Remember, you have the right to say no. You are not obligated to explain yourself or justify your boundaries to anyone. If someone reacts negatively, try to remain calm and assertive. Repeat your no as many times as necessary without getting defensive or engaging in an argument. You can also set boundaries around how much you're willing to discuss the situation. For example, you could say, I understand you're disappointed, but I'm not comfortable discussing this further. Chapter 8. Guilt is a powerful emotion that can often sabotage our efforts to set boundaries. We might worry about disappointing others, seeming selfish or damaging relationships. It's important to remember that saying no to a request doesn't make you a bad person. It simply means you're prioritizing your own needs and limits. Remind yourself that it's okay to put yourself first sometimes. You deserve to have time and energy for the things that are important to you. If you're struggling with guilt, try writing down your reasons for saying no. This can help you clarify your thoughts and feelings and reinforce the validity of your decision. Saying no can feel awkward or uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to it. Like any skill, it takes practice to become comfortable and confident. One helpful tip is to rehearse your responses ahead of time. Think about common situations where you might need to say no and practice what you would say and how you would say it. You can practice in front of a mirror, with a trusted friend or family member, or even just in your head. The more you practice, the more natural and effortless it will become. Remember, you don't have to memorize a script. The goal is to get comfortable with the general idea of setting boundaries and saying no in a way that feels authentic to you. Every time you say no, it's an opportunity to learn and grow. Take a moment to reflect on how it went. What felt good? What felt challenging? What could you do differently next time? Don't be afraid to adjust your approach as needed. Setting boundaries is an ongoing process, and it's okay to make mistakes along the way. The important thing is to keep practicing and refining your skills. The more you say no, the easier it will become, and the more confident you'll feel in your ability to set healthy boundaries. Just as it's important for you to set boundaries, it's equally important to respect the boundaries of others. When someone says no to you, accept it gracefully and without judgment. Remember, everyone has the right to make choices that are in their best interest. Just because someone says no to you doesn't mean they don't care about you or value your relationship. Try to be understanding and supportive. You can say something like, I understand. Thank you for letting me know. Or no worries, I appreciate you considering it. By respecting others' boundaries, you create a more positive and respectful environment for everyone. Mastering the art of saying no is an act of courage and self-love. It's about recognizing your worthiness and setting boundaries that honor your well-being. It's about choosing to show up fully in your life, aligned with your values and priorities. Remember, saying no doesn't make you selfish or difficult. It makes you a conscious architect of your own life. It empowers you to manage your time and energy better, build stronger relationships, and live more authentically. By practicing these strategies, you can say no with confidence and maintain balance in your life. Embrace the power of no and watch how it transforms your relationships with yourself and others.